really shared with me her organizational skills, her financial skills, and really what it is to be a great mother. My sister, well, see, I was an only child for the first 3.5 years, so it was hard for me to, first of all, be a sister. We didn't necessarily, the little one there, we didn't necessarily get along all the time, but over the years, we've become closer and closer, and now I could not imagine what my life would be without my sister. We went to public schools, and I did very well in math and science. That took me to Alfred University. Has anyone actually even heard of Alfred University? Oh, there's about 10, maybe 15 hands. Right, Alfred University. Alfred University is in the middle of nowhere in western New York. It's about 9 hours from Concord, New Hampshire. It has one stoplight and two colleges there, Alfred State and Alfred University. I went to major in ceramic engineering. Again, most people haven't heard of ceramic engineering. That's a topic for another time. And I also minored in mathematics. For me, ceramic engineering wasn't just about ceramics, material science, but it was really about glass. I was also away from my family, but up for a challenge. I made new friends, and some of those friends really became my extended family. I continued to work hard, good grades, like most of you, as you're going to college or into college, good grades were important to me. But I also found a satisfaction of helping others. That came academically, through tutoring other people, usually in math. That's how I met my husband, future husband at Alfred. And I also found working with Habitat for Humanity. We did a spring break trip our senior year to Atlanta, Georgia area, and we built houses and worked on those houses down there. So helping others got me through Alfred University, graduated there, and then went to work for Corning. Most people, right, show of hands, have you heard of Corning? Corning, we got a few more hands. We're growing in the hands. Corning, maybe you know it as those plates that your grandparents have. If you flip over the back, there's a little Corning symbol. But I worked in State College, Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Worked in TV, television, glass manufacturing. So I loved glass. I loved watching a nice little 75-pound glass gob that's hot come out of the tank, get cut, get sheared, and then drop and get pressed. That was my life. And making sure that that glass was in composition. I also worked in Corning, New York in the world of glass fiber optics. Again, still away from my family, which I loved, but wanted to use and expand my education. That was my drive at that point. Here's what engineering, though, is for me. I love a process. I know that there's many of you sitting in here that will say, yes, even in math class, I love a process. I love a process, how things work. I love to see a manufacturing process, probably above and above all. I love to walk into how it is made. I love problem solving. I love the feeling of when you can find the root cause of something and actually solve it and fix it permanently. And that's where I worked in the field of process improvement. I love consistency. I love doing the same thing every day as close as I can, the same way if I can do it. Even if it's consistently bad. Consistently bad is better than not consistent. Consistently bad says I can take that process and move it from here to here with one or two fixes, but not necessarily have to think about a ton of things. I love working with others. I love working on teams, and I like using my resources. What I learned in engineering is you don't have to know it all, but other people may know some part of it if you can pull that in to your team and make improvement that way. I love observing leaders. I like figuring out different leadership styles, which then helps me become a leader. Corning was big on valuing the individual. Everybody has a place. Everybody has a piece in it. Your individuality is important. And through all that work, you need to take time for a vacation. every once in a while, take a moment to recharge. Take time to relax. It doesn't have to be a major vacation, but something small and little along the way. And as you can see from the slide, I also love a checklist. I was talking to somebody at the beginning. I need to check this presentation today off my list. I need to move on. Let me make my check mark and go and move on. So life was good, right? I've got a job where we're all working well. I've worked at various Corning plants. My husband has now, or future husband, because we get married. Okay, right here. Thank you to my daughter Audrey, who made these nice little slides. But in 2000, September, we were married. We came back to, we were living in Corning, New York. We came back to Concord, New Hampshire, and got married. We then, as most people do, after you get married, the next step on your timeline there is to buy a house. We watched this house, it was a spec house, get built. We picked out a lot of the inside things. This was in Horseheads, New York, which is just outside of Corning, New York. We both had jobs. Again, couldn't have asked for more. Would have liked to be closer to my family, but overall we could vacation. We had enough vacation time. Then, July of 2001 happened. So this is right, we're in April 2001. We're now looking at July 2001. My husband got laid off. When we had purchased that house 3 months before, we had no idea that the Corning market was saturated. There was, Corning stock had gone from, at one point it was a high of $300. It split to $100. Next thing you know, it was crashing down, and it was at like dollars per share. There were no jobs. When you live in the town that the company is made of, you work for Corning, you live in Corning, Corning loses jobs, there's no jobs in a 50, 60 mile radius of that. I had a job at the time, but who knew how safe mine was? I was also in the fiber and photonics industry. For the first time in my life, hard work, dedication, family, there was no easy fix. Things were out of my control. It was my husband and his faith that definitely helped us persevere. For the first time, really in my life, I was aware that there was a higher power. There was going to be a plan for us. It's just really tough when you don't know what that plan was. So 3 months later, prayers were answered, and in September 2001, we relocated to Maine. Come to find out, there was a Corning Kennebunk plant, so we could relocate with the same company. Corning helped. Corning moved us. They paid for our moving. They paid for our closing costs of our new house. They stored our stuff while we built our new house. It was good. He got a job. Michael got a job at the Kennebunk plant. My hard work and efforts way back when I started in state college paid off because the Corning manager the engineering manager, happened to be somebody I'd worked with 5+ years before, and she said I could come too. I was back home. We're within an hour from my family. I continued to work in the Corning Kennebunk plant for the next 5 years. And then 2 kids later, there's 3 coming, but there's 3 up there, but we'll get there. I decided to stay home. At that point, you switch from a engineering checklist, you can do this every day, to you have to readjust your checklist as a stay-at-home mom. If I got one thing accomplished when I was home, that was a good thing. So meet the family. Notice that we're on vacation. I told you at the beginning, right, that a vacation was important. My husband, fellow engineer, so we definitely click on that note. He can fix anything. Like, you need it fixed, he will fix it. As I mentioned before, very faithful. And we've been married 18 years, the end of this month. So life is good. Dylan, that's the little guy in the front there. Dylan. I've got 2 of my freshman friends up there will say they love Dylan. Dylan is the chatty one. He represents the voice in our family. Dylan loves his sports. He will talk baseball. He will talk football with you. Sometimes you have to check his statistics on it, but he's challenged me to learn more about sports. What most people wouldn't know about Dylan is he actually had quite the difficulty with his speech early on. And because of his work and his perseverance, the strides that he's made, he's not only made me a better person, but really a better listener to really make sure I hear him. There's Audrey. Audrey's next to me, the second tallest of the kids. She's kind, creative, smart. That kid loves her siblings, especially, unconditionally. Audrey has musical talents. I don't even know where she got them. It wasn't from me. She canters at Mass. She plays her flute. She plays her piano. Just inspires me every day to try new things. And the idea that what you can do in front of a crowd. And then there's Grace. A few of you up there know who Grace is. Grace is here as a freshman. She has an intensity about her, Mr. Brown, when you say an intensity about her. But when you finally break through that intensity, you get first a smile. And then you find out that she has a voice. And her voice includes football and basketball and many other things. And then I put my plug in, because the husband grew up in Denver, Colorado, she'll also talk about the Broncos with you. And each day, I find out that Grace and I are more and more alike. And actually, as I think about it, as I reflected here, that I find each and every one of my kids, definitely I see myself in. Family, there's nothing like it. Make sure you take a vacation with your family. So then I was at the point of what's missing from the presentation. My friend Mr. Holtz here would say, it's what drives me to work, right? What drives me to work? That's a much better version of what I actually drive. That's the picture I got off the internet. It's a 2005 Toyota Sienna. There is no air conditioning. The air conditioning does not work. I long for a backup camera. I love backing up. I want to back up. Maybe someday I'll have the heated seats. Maybe. If you ask me what's missing from the presentation, it's the teaching part of it. The teaching. So, my kids, my love of teaching my own kids, my schedule, and my love of math had brought me to teaching. I started out somewhere around 2011. Dylan was born in 2009, so a couple years after Dylan was born, teaching at Noble Adult Education, doing GED classes. And I started taking classes myself at UNE. There's a teacher certification program there for people like me that have an engineering background and want to transform into teaching. I got this, right? I can go back to school. Maybe not the technology piece, Blackboard, I had to figure that out first, but I got this, I can do this. That led me to the school year of the 2013-14 as a long-term substitute position. There was wonderful teachers there. My team one, I happened to run into one last night, wonderful teachers. I really improved my teaching. I thought I really did well. People told me I did well. But at the end of the year, there was a job available, but they didn't hire me for the job. Oh boy, I started worrying, started stressing, my husband had to remind me, I need to say a prayer, things will all work out. I was still taking classes too during that at UNE because I wanted to continue on my path. The other part of that long-term sub thing is they didn't count it towards my certification. If they had counted it for a year of experience, I could have been certified in Maine. Nope, didn't work out for me. So the following year, I went to teach a class or two at Great Bay Community College in math. And then I taught computers, a couple of you went there, at the Hussey School for one day a week in Berwick. With my kids, like I got to go with this school with my little kids. The work was not ideal, but it continued. And at the end of that, I kind of considered, should I actually pay UNE $5,000 $10,000, something crazy like that, to then student teach. I thought I had all this great experience. I thought I had my engineering background. I thought I had done a nice job, but I still needed that student teaching experience. Or a job that would then say that I officially had taught. And so I came to St. Thomas. I came to St. Thomas, not one interview, not 2 interviews, but 3 different interviews over a 9-month period. 3 interviews, perseverance, keep going. And all of a sudden, in 2015, I was finally hired here. About the power of prayer there in God's plans. Finally, if I had landed back at Noble High School, probably would not be here. I feel like I found my second home. I really do. I'm surrounded each day by you, people that inspire me, the students, the staff, and the teachers that I teach with each day. For the seniors in the audience, my front row here, right? The seniors, we started together 4 years ago. Some of us even had A1 in my friend Mrs. Collins' room down in the first floor. We didn't have math on the second floor. Why do you need math on the second floor? Or the first floor have math. And for others of you, we conquered Algebra 1 and Rich. Since then, I've settled into room 202. And many others of you up there in the audience have been through my classes. I cherish the smiles. I cherish those thank yous. The conversations, the hard work that most of you give me each and every day, the questions and the challenges. Each day I improve my confidence and I watch your confidence grow in things like math, but also in life lessons. You really, this audience here, each and every one of you, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a student, whether you've been my student or not, there's some of you I've even met that have not been my student. You keep me showing up. I like to park in the same location, right here next to my friend, Mr. Marquis. I like to back in, and that consistency still is there in my life. But you've really helped me. You've really helped me become a better teacher. So what would I like you to take away from this nice presentation here? Got to give you something, right? You have foundation skills. I had them back in my Concord High days, back in my Concord neighborhood with my friends, my family. You have those that you're building at home at St. Thomas. I have to bring up my Bill Belichick statement, which is you got to do your job. I do it well, though, because you never know who's watching you. You never know when that thing is going to come back. That the experience that I had in Corning at one point versus the experience that I had where they said, we'll hire you too. Exceed those expectations. Figure out along the way how to help others. That might be through community service, or that might be just inviting somebody into your classroom and listening to them. It doesn't have to be something formal, but figure out along the way how to help others. As you know, I take time along the way. It hasn't been easy this September, but I do try to take time along the way to recharge, to breathe, to spend time with my family. Surround yourself with others that inspire you. Value those people. They might be your family, they might be others, it might be your college friends there. Pray and trust in God's plan. That has been probably for me on this journey one of the things that I've had to learn and challenge myself to do, because it's not always clear what the next steps are. And please count your blessings. I count them every day for my family, to what each of you brings to me. And on that note, I say thank you for listening.